Hey ladies and gents, that's gonna be a new kind of video, so I just wanted to give you guys a rundown of the stuff I'm using here today to get a couple images of the Orion Nebula and the Nebula. So this is my setup right here. I've got a Celestron C6 scope on a Nexstar SE mount. Got my camera over here. As you can see, well, you're supposed to see right there. That's a preview of the Orion Nebula. So the way this is connected is I got a battery here. That's a 12 volt battery, just a regular 3S RC LiPo. That battery is connected over here to my mount, as you can see, as you can sort of see. Then over here I got a dew heater system, which you might be able to see like this. Essentially it consists of a thin wire wrapped around a coil, which I made with a drill. And it's got a resistance about 2 ohms, and it's connected to a little battery pack I made. It works pretty well. I mean, there's very little dew. Oh, there's a little bit of dew on the scope. Let's see. Yeah, you can sort of see the dew, but like it's not too bad. It's honestly not that bad, considering the dew heater's on. Yeah, and well, there's the exposure again. Probably gonna wash it out because of the light, but yeah, I mean it works, no complaints. And yeah, now all we gotta do is just, yeah, there you go, see, washed out. Yeah, basically we just gotta let it, do its thing. The exposures I'm shooting 25 seconds ISO 6400. And the camera I'm using is a modified, well, I mean I modified it myself by just making a full spectrum. This is a Sony NEX3. I picked this camera up for 30 euros, allegedly broken. What was broken, turns out, was the clicker wheel, which was a real easy fix. And I mean, yeah, other than that, I'm using a, well, corner piece, or whatever you call these. It's from Celestron, 1.25 inch, and a cheap little light pollution filter. And that's my setup. So here she is in all her glory. After getting home yesterday and getting some really good sleep, the first thing I did was I combined the 15-second exposure and the 25-second exposure stacks of these images and made them all in one stack using Sequator. The reason I did this was because the 15-second exposures had less field rotation to them and the stars were more pinpoint and less bloated. Unfortunately, there wasn't as much nebulosity in the 15-second exposures as there was in the 25-second exposures, but at the cost of the less pinpoint stars. In order to get the best of both worlds, I used the high dynamic range feature in Sequator and I stacked these images at once essentially, which allowed me to have some pretty clearly resolved stars, like for example this star in M43, as well as some rather visible nebulosity, like for example this M42 structure. Unfortunately, using a higher sensitivity camera and a Maksutov telescope, which has a glass corrector plate, comes at the cost of some rather visible chromatic aberration, which can be seen here, but honestly it's not that bad. And overall I'm quite satisfied with this stack result. The next thing I did with the stack was I converted to a bitmap file, which is seen over here, so as it would be easier for me to work with it using Luminar 4. After that was done, I did some basic edits in Luminar 4. Specifically, I played around with some filters and I hue shifted the image. But because the image was quite well made to begin with, very few effects were needed to process this image. Well, yeah, also I cropped it slightly and I made it more of a 1-to-1 ratio. After finishing processing the image, I then went on to well, post-processing by first of all using Topaz Denoise AI to clear up the noise in this image, which can be seen rather well when you zoom into the M43 and compare it over here to the previous one, which is quite a bit cleaner. Okay, so after cleaning up the image, the last thing I did was I did some final processing work with this image, and that is to first of all just boost the general brightness of the image and expand the range, so a equalize feature. And I slightly downscaled the image to get even higher signal to noise ratio. Okay, and here, my viewers, is the final image. Personally, I'm quite impressed by this image. The nebulosity is clearly visible in M43 as well as M42, and this interesting connecting structure is visible now too. A lot of diffused gas and dust can be visible in this part of the image, which I'm quite impressed by. Of course, the image is not perfect. There is some slight limitations, specifically this weird black patch on the bottom, which I'm guessing was caused by the field rotation and the images getting stacked awkwardly one on top of the other, and the skew angle of M42, as well as this rather noticeable color model. Although still, I'm very satisfied by the image, and I mean, it's pretty good. Yeah, thanks for watching, and I guess see you later.